Well, this is it, Mick. The Monument Fishery near Shifnal. Our quest for big fish continues. It's brought us out here to the Shropshire countryside yet again, and we're going to be fishing a place that belongs to a good friend of mine. What do you think?
Well, it's a fabulous location, isn't it? It looks to me as though this has been man-made, I would say.
Yeah. It's the first of its kind, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
Now, as you know, there is an insatiable demand for carp fishing in this country.
Yeah.
Especially for catching big carp. This is the first tailor-made big carp water with open public access. So anyone who's prepared to pay their money is going to be able to come here.
It's just catering for the needs of the modern angler, isn't it? The ordinary man can catch the fish of his dreams without joining an expensive syndicate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, that's one just jumped there. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah.
See the rings?
I did, yeah. That's a nice fish.
Yeah, it is.
You're getting excited, aren't you?
I am, yeah. Let's...
Yeah, I'm not.
Let's go and get our gear.
I'm not getting excited.
Considering this is a short session, we've got some bait there. How are you getting on?
I think we might have to come back for a bit. So much for short sessions, eh?
So carp, well, the record currently is £61 7 ounces caught by Lee Jackson from Collingbrook, and there's an even bigger fish currently under consideration. But you know, the most famous carp ever caught was one caught in 1952 by a guy called Richard Walker. It weighed over 44 pounds and it was caught from Redmire Pool in Wales. Now that was a very significant fish because up until that point all big fish had been caught largely by accident, but Walker proved that big fish could be caught by design, and the capture of a fish that was known as Clarissa literally rocked the angling world. Now you might be wondering where I am. Well, actually I'm in the Natural History Museum in London. I've got Oliver Crimmen with me. Oliver's the fish curator here. He's also on the BRFC, which is the Record Fish Committee, and you've got a rather interesting relic for us, haven't you?
Yes, these are the pharyngeal teeth, the throat teeth of Richard Walker's famous fish, Clarissa.
Fantastic, Oliver. Well, that is probably the most famous set of dentures in fishing history. Clarissa was the fish that rocked the angling world. She weighed 44 pounds, and significantly, all these years later, a carp of that size is still a very, very big fish. Let's just hope that me and Mick Brown can catch something approaching that weight. So I've got with me now Rob Hales. Now, Rob, I've fished your carp syndicates for a number of years. It's always been fantastic. But this is probably your most ambitious scheme yet, I guess. I mean, what's it all about?
Well, it's about a dream, really, Matt, and it's the opportunity I want to give to everybody, experienced anglers or otherwise, to come to the Monument, experience the chance of catching a really big carp.
So anyone can come here?
Anybody can come. They phone up, they book on, and they could even end up fishing next to you.
Yeah, well, when your anglers do arrive, perhaps you could give us some idea of what they're likely to catch from.
Well, we've definitely got, Mick, over 100 20s. We've got 13 different 30s, and we've got the 3 40s, which we remove from Acton Burnell.
You've actually created features in this lake, haven't you?
I have indeed, yeah. I mean, that's the most important thing about the Monument. That's what gives it its point of difference. There are loads of substantial features underwater. And the one area I'm going to suggest you fish today is an area where there are 5 huge egg crate mounds sticking up off the bottom, a bit like the bottom of an egg box, but they're 3 or 4 feet off the bottom, and the fish congregate around these all the time. And where I propose Mick fish is a little bit further down from you, where there are like 3 bars in a line, and the fish, you know, are all in and around these bars. So the main thing is to learn the water, know where the features are, and they're invariably only 40 yards from the bank.
Now, talking about features and things, you've kept me waiting far too long, Rob Hales. I'm absolutely gagging here. I'm like a rat up a drain pipe.
Well, come on, let's go and get your rods and see what we can catch.
That's a good idea. That's the best idea I've heard today. Tell you what, though, you've been in this place for a few years. Yeah, we need to make a few bags up on it.
All right.
Put a bit of smell in the water. Yeah.
I'll get rigged up then and we'll make a plan.
OK, mate. Well, what I'm doing at the moment is a thing we call leading around. Something that you often do when you get to a new swim. You want to find where the features are on the bottom. There's no clue on the surface. So the idea is to cast out a lead, and if you pull up over a bar or a hump, it starts to lock up and you'll feel it bounce up the slope and then drop back down the other side. So it's just a quick fix really on where some of these interesting features might be. Fish are just like people really, they congregate around things of interest. So I'm trying to find those places now. You see how the rod tip's locked up? It's gone solid all of a sudden. That's because it's hit the base of a mound or a slope. I'm going to drag it up and then it should drop clear over the other side, which is just done, I think. Well, it's fairly clear over on the left-hand side of the swim. It's coming back really smoothly. So I've now got feature lined up with a couple of trees on the far bank. I can feel the lead dragging up the clay slope. There's nothing on the left, nothing on the right. So I've identified the features. I can use the line clip on the reel initially to drop the lead on the mark. That's great.
I'm getting really excited making these rigs up. I just can't wait to cast in. I noticed Matt's been using his feature finding lead and he's been looking for the features in front of him, and I think that's a good idea in principle, but my feeling is on this water that the fish aren't really going to be on the features at the moment. I think wherever you put the food, the carp are going to go straight onto it. That's my feeling. Let's just see who catches first, me or Matt.
I don't think there's any point in doing anything too sophisticated for these carp, so I'm going to keep things fairly simple. I've got a TFG carp safety leader on here, which will stop the rig tangling up. It'll also help to pin the line down behind the lead. I've got a 3-ounce lead safety clip type system. The important part really is the hook. I've got a simple knotless knot arrangement, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to fish with 2 boilies on a hair. And because Rob reckons that these fish feed largely by smell at the moment because the water's coloured, I've got some paste here. So I'm going to put paste around the boilies to increase the smell rate. Basically, the paste breaks down in the water and it releases flavour very quickly, so it makes the bait very smelly, and it's something I do a lot when I'm short session fishing, so I'm hoping that will be a real edge. And then I'm going to attach a PVA bag to the rig, which is full of the pellets that Rob uses to supplement the feed for the fish in here. There's a few boilies in there, and hopefully that will pull the fish into the bait. So nothing particularly sophisticated, but thought out, I think. So what I'm going to do now is to mould the paste around the boilies, and it's pretty simple. You just flatten it and then push the boilies into the paste, moulding it into a pear shape. That is an irresistible carp bait. Well, as you can see, this is a pretty big bag. This is a dissolving PVA bag. It's not the most aerodynamic thing I've ever tried to cast, but I want to give them plenty of bait, so it might be ugly, but let's just hope it does the job. Just one tip, I've punctured the bag to make sure it sinks, because that's very important. If you just swing this thing out...
Only perfect.
That'll do.
Right, up to the carp now. Well, a slight change of tactic. The bait I brought with me just doesn't seem to be working. But I've got some of the bait now that they've been feeding these carp with, and I've been trying that. But rather than just casting to the one place where I've been feeding, I've been casting around different spots, and I've just had a little bit of response on this one rod. I think something's sniffing around the bag at the moment. It might be on, so I'm just going to check it. And it's not. False alarm. Just put another bag on and try again. Just hook into the bag, twist it round, hook again. Well, I've got to get that out fairly quick because that's going to melt from the dampness of the hook. Missed it. How did I miss that one? I was just thinking of recasting and off it went and I missed it. Oh, I've got one at last. I've been casting the bag round various parts of the swim, and eventually I've found one. I think it's only a small one actually. It's unless it's coming to me at high speed, that's probably more like it. Oh, it's feeling bigger all the time actually. Oh no, I just had a bleep on the other rod after all this time. Hey Matt, how'd you like to give us a hand with the net? There's a good chap. Well, I've got it right into the margin now, and it's just plodding around like a big heavy weight. Can't actually see because the water's very, very coloured.
Well done, mate.
I've just been casting the bag around different parts of the swim, Matt, and that one hadn't been out very long.
Hadn't it?
No.
Yeah, I've just put some bait in down the margins, actually.
Yeah.
I think if you can drop it on them, Mick, they'll just take it, won't they?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Right, I think he's tiring out a bit now, Matt. I'll bring him your way.
It's not a bad carp, Mick.
No. Here she comes.
Gotcha.
Right, we've got the mat ready. Put her on the mat, Matt. It's a lovely fish, isn't it?
Yeah, very pale, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, oh, yes.
Beautiful, though. There
Yeah.
you go. Now the moment.
Oh, well, look at that. There's the hook.
You can always tell when a carp's never been caught before because there's a little curtain just underneath the top lip of soft flesh, and that shows that fish has never been caught before.
Right, should we just take a look at her before we slip her back?
Yeah, lovely fish, Mick.
Oh,
Well
look
done.
at that. You'll know that one again. Look at the dorsal fin on that one. Oh, the lack of a dorsal fin. It's a lovely, great fat fish, isn't it?
Well, that isn't far off £20, Mick.
No. Well, let's slip her back because we don't want her out the water for too long. Let's make sure all the fins are straight. Because the lake's newly excavated, the mud's very, very soft, and at the moment it's quite difficult to get the fish back into the water. But there she goes. Have a look at these.
Well, it's absolutely crazy, isn't it? We don't get a bite for a couple of hours, and then all of a sudden we get a bite within 5 minutes of each other. It's quite interesting that my lead's discharged itself from the clip. It's one of the safety features built into some of the modern ledgering devices you can buy for carp fishing. Basically where the lead will come out under moderate pressure, and that means that if fish picks up your bait, it's not going to have to tow the lead around. Well, it's not a massive fish, this one, but it's a scrapper, and it's pale as well, like the one that Mick caught. And that's really down to the colour of the water. Well, here she comes, my first monument carp, and who knows, any one of the fish in this lake could grow on to become a real monster. Come on. Here she comes. Gotcha. Well, there you go. Look at this fish. It's what I meant about the safety side of the rig. Everything clears off this weighted leader here. I like these fish with an elongated, narrow head, but big shoulders behind. And there it is. Really distinctive colour there. Pale, creamy coloured fish. Very unusual. This, of course, is a mirror carp. Lovely looking fish. And who knows, in 10 years' time, you might see this one staring back at you from Angling Times or one of the other papers, and it might weigh 50 pounds. Well, we made a decent start. We caught a couple of fish fairly early on, but then it went really quiet on us. Saw some fish over here and we thought, well, you can't look a gift horse in the mouth. Let's get over that side of the lake. And you know, we figure that even though we've only got a few hours to catch the fish, maybe tactically we've got it slightly wrong because we've been fishing with PVA bags, very light baiting. And to be honest with you, it's not really working. Now, when they're fed here, they're fed large amounts. So we figured, well, why don't we go for it? So we've come over here, we've put out a marker float in between our two swims, and we're both fishing one rod each onto a big patch of bait. The bait we're using is this stuff here. Now, these boilies are M1 boilies. It's the bait that's been fed into the Monument and will continue to be fed in. It's got quite a savoury sort of smell with a bit of a spicy back note. I know it's got very high quality ingredients in it. The other thing is they're quite strong smelling baits, which means that the fish will find them in this coloured water. So we've put quite a big bed of M1 out. But anyway, I'm still bagging because I think it's nice to be able to put a pile of food down to really grab the fish's attention. And if anything, I've switched to even larger bags, and I've got a system here that you might find interesting. I came across the other day, and I think it's really good when you're fishing with large, solid PVA bags, and I'll show you how it works now. It all revolves around this specially designed lead. The lead has got a recess moulded into its base, so the lead is specifically designed to carry this flexible rubber O-ring here. So if we take a bag out, I'm going to use the solid type of bag, but I mean this will work with the mesh type network bags. It's quite ingenious, this actually. I wish I'd thought of it myself, but I didn't. There you go. Start off, take the bag. Got here in this container a mixture of some M1 boilies and some pellets. I'm going to start off by crushing up a few boilies, then put a few pellets in. So I've basically filled the bag, let's say, a quarter full. What I'm going to do now is drop the rig into the bag, feed it down, and then when it's near the bottom, I'm going to take the hook and pull it through the skin of the bag like that. There it is. Again, put in a few crushed boilies if you want, some more pellets, and then I'm going to stop about a third of the way up. So there's my bag look. Next stage is to feed the top of the bag through the rubber ring. Then put your lead into the top of the bag and then push the O-ring over the bag and the lead so it all hangs on that recess. And that will withstand a really hefty cast. It's quite impressive, actually. I'll tell you what, if Mick Brown was a carp, that would definitely catch him. Here we go.
I was there, mate. It was a nice run, that really steamed up. Safely in. And as I look over my shoulder, Matt's into one as well.
Very strange.
I've probably caught the smallest fish in the lake here. And Matt's making a meal of that fish.
Yes.
Bit more, that's it.
This one's like a breeze block.
Well, the runs just go on and on here. I'm not going to say it's a big one this time because I'm always proved wrong. It's probably the second smallest one in the lake. I think we've been quite unfortunate so far to have caught so many fish and not had one of the big ones in here. Well, the line's gone very tight. It's gone behind one of the man-made clay bars out there. But I can feel the line coming through it slowly. Well, it's passed the test so far. I can tell when my arm's aching, it's got a chance of being a decent fish. And I can tell you my arm is aching at the moment. Mind you, I'm getting on a bit as well.
Do you want a hand with it?
I wouldn't mind, actually. It's making my arm ache. It could be certainly I think it's a 20-pluser anyway.
OK.
Knowing my luck, I've hooked it in the end of the tail and it's a 6-pounder.
Oh, yeah, it's a beauty.
That's a big fish, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a beauty, mate.
It might even be a 30, mate.
Yeah, it's a big fish, that is, mate.
Tell you
Take
what.
it steady. That's well over 30, mate. That's 40, I think. Ah, you got it.
Wow,
Oh,
Matt.
yes. That's a big fish, mate.
God, look at the size of
That's
it.
a massive fish.
That is the biggest carp I've ever seen.
That is a monster, mate.
Oh, Matt.
Put it there, that's a beauty.
You'll have to take over. I'm trembling with excitement.
Well, look,
Oh.
you go and get your scales and the sling, and I'll unhook it for you.
Yeah,
How's
OK,
that?
mate.
Well, I don't want to put a weight on it because it's probably tempting fate, but this fish, I think it's 40 pounds. It's getting up that way. It's a big one. This fish has got a mouth that could literally swallow an orange. I can almost put my hand in there. Here's the curtain of skin here, which tells me this fish has never been caught. Now, the British carp record is just over 60. Imagine that. OK, I'm going to roll the fish over.
Oh, that's a lump, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a be a very big fish, mate, that is. That'll be the biggest carp you'll catch in this country for a long time, matey.
I am so out of breath.
Do you want me to do it, or...?
Please, mate. My biggest carp is 39 pounds.
Well, it's now 44.
No.
It is, yeah.
That's like winning the lottery. I'm not going to kiss you.
Coincidentally, this fish is the same weight as the fish that Richard Walker caught when he rocked the carp world back in the 1950s. And the carp record stood at just over 44 pounds. And this fish is about 44 pounds too.
Yeah.
It's an absolute monster. Put it there, son.
Oh, I'm so pleased.
I didn't like to say that it was 40, but
No.
I knew it was. I knew it was. Well done.
I'm lost for words for once.
Well, what a result.
Let me just take a look at it. What a fish. I'll probably never catch a carp as big as that ever in my life again. I'm so happy.
Turn it towards me a bit, mate. I'll take one more. Well done, son.
Wow, look at the mouth.
That is a very big carp. 44 pounds.
Look at that.
I think,
Gosh.
she's gone.
Matt.
I'm really pleased for you, mate.
Thanks,
well
Adam.
done. You deserve it, good lad. And that, as they say, is a wrap. Let's go home.
Can you believe it?